Welcome back, rockers. You've tuned in for another episode of Indie Rockers Ball.
If you're looking for this week's hottest music news, then you've come to the right place.
That's right. We have a great show planned today.
Woohoo! Yes, we do. We got Julia Cooler coming in later for a great performance.
I can hardly wait. Don't go anywhere, rockers.
Shortly after announcing his new record, popular jazz pop artist Michael Bublé has announced that he's retiring from music. The singer claims, "I'm retiring from the business, I've made the perfect record, and now I can leave at the very top." Bublé's son Noah was diagnosed with liver cancer in 2016, and now has made a full recovery. According to Canadian crooner, his son's battle gave him a new perspective on life. Him and his wife are still recovering from the emotional impact of the traumatic time. "I don't even know how I was breathing. I didn't question who I was. I just questioned everything else." Bublé states that he wants to focus on his children and his family rather than being worried about selling tickets for his upcoming tour. Bublé also announces that this will be his last interview along with his last album titled Love, which will be out in November. "The diagnosis made me realize how stupid I've been to worry about these unimportant things. I was embarrassed by my ego that had allowed this insecurity. And I decided I'd never read my name again in print. Never read a review, and I never have." He states in an interview with Music News, "Us here at IUP are very upset that Michael Bublé's career is ending. However, we respect his decision and wish him best in the future."
Do you remember the catchy tune "We're All in This Together" from the popular 2006 movie High School Musical? Well, looks like that wasn't the last time we'd be hearing the song. In 2019, there are plans for a High School Musical TV series, except this version follows a group of students at the high school putting on a production of High School Musical, including both drama on and off the stage. The series will also include a new rendition of a song from High School Musical every episode, as well as an original song. The leading role will be played by up-and-coming actor Josh Bassett. Bassett will be playing the role of Ricky, a high schooler attempting to win back his ex-girlfriend. Gary Marsh, president and chief creative officer of Disney, states about Bassett, "Joshua's interpretation of the Ricky character was brilliant, funny, winning, and at the same time uniquely vulnerable. The audience is going to love watching this charismatic young actor put his stamp on the next chapter of the High School Musical franchise." Keep an eye out for this new series and let us know what you think, rockers.
Ian, I can't believe you're already halfway through the season.
Right? It's all gone by so fast.
Tell me about it. So how do you like being a host so far?
I'll tell you, my first year doing the show, I thought I wouldn't be hosting at all. So since I've been up here, I really do enjoy it, and I'm hoping to be back next year.
Oh my god, well we're so glad, and I love having you here. Anyway, rockers, up next is Music Lesson with Nick Dark.
Hey rockers, this week on Music Lesson we're going to be learning Do I Want to Know by the Arctic Monkeys. So you're going to want to be in standard tuning, and you're going to be playing single notes on the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings. And then you're going to be playing mainly from the 1st fret up until the 5th fret. So you want to start on the 1st fret on the 6th string, and then the 3rd fret on the 6th string, 1st fret on the 5th string, back to the 3rd fret on the 6th string. So we'll play that first part. Then for the second part, you repeat, but instead of going back to the 3rd fret on the 6th string, you'll go up to the 1st fret on the 4th string, and then slide up to the 3rd fret on the 4th string. So after that, you want to go back to the 1st fret, slide up to the 3rd fret, hammer on to the 5th fret twice, and then play the 3rd fret on the 6th string. So we'll play that last part. And then we'll play the whole thing together. And that's how you play the intro / the verse to Do I Want to Know by the Arctic Monkeys. We'll see you next week, rockers.
Folk rock band Mumford & Sons are releasing their 4th studio album titled Delta. The album will be released on November 16th with an impressive 14 songs. According to Marcus Mumford, the band initially recorded 25 songs and collaborated with almost 100 people. That's extremely impressive considering the band has only been around for about 11 years. During recording, the band worked hard and played harder. Mumford grins as he describes their late-night, non-gender specific Friday Night Lad sessions where they invited friends to hang out, play music, smoke cigarettes, and have a great time. He estimates around 100 people passed through during recording, and many ended up on the record, including singer-songwriters Yebba, Maggie Rogers, and Gil Landry. The themes on Delta focus on experiences of being on and off tour and have a more tender, introspective, and reflective style compared to their previous album. It's our emo album, jokes Marshall, but Mumford gets serious on the subject. We've all been much closer to birth and death, which both feel wild to me, and most of the songs have been written about things like that. But it has to feel like an honest emotion. We're going to sing these songs for the rest of our lives as a band, and if it doesn't feel right, then there's no point.
Less than 18 months after releasing the platinum-selling LP Evolve, Imagine Dragons announced on October 4th that their fourth studio album, Origins, is due out on November 9th. This is said to be the sister album to the previous Evolve, where frontman Dan Reynolds says, "It's about seeking new ground, but also appreciating your roots." The album is set to have 15 songs with tracks such as Zero and Natural that have already been released. The music video for Zero is a mashup of memes, 21st century internet culture, and lyrics to the song. The band also went on to say that after they finished up the cycle for Evolve, that they just kept writing more material, and they didn't want to wait to release new music. They also touch on what direction they think the album will go by saying, "Evolve is like, where am I going? I know there's color, there's something new. And Origins is, this is where you're going, and it's a bright future." Let us know what you think about the new Imagine Dragons on Twitter and Facebook at IRB-TV.
Seems like a lot of artists are deciding to drop new albums in the past few months.
Yeah, including Mumford & Sons and Imagine Dragons.
Plenty of good music to look forward to soon. Any new album that you're excited for, Ian?
I'm not quite sure if the album is coming out, but I'm definitely excited that the Front Bottoms put out their new single, End of Summer, on Friday, so hopefully that leads to a new album.
Right? I love them too. I'm excited for the 1975's new album, A Brief Inquiry to Online Relationships. Anyways, up next is Rocker's Review.
Hey everybody, this is Jake here. We're joined by the newest member of the IRB cast, Liam.
I'm very, very glad to be here.
We're so glad that you're here.
Yeah.
We're so glad, man.
Yeah, I'm really glad, man. Honestly,
I'm pretty glad.
yeah, getting here for the first, honestly, it's so great to get involved in, different college things. I did the radio a lot for my first freshman year. And then the second that, sophomore year came up, I just really enjoyed, doing new things. So I really like being on IUP-TV.
Awesome.
It's a great first day.
Yeah, well, we've got a new collaborator in the house, and we're talking about collaborations today.
Yeah, we are. I'm really excited.
It's been a lot going on in terms of, with hip-hop, there's always collaborations. That's just like a part of the business.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Everybody being in each other's stuff. But in rock music as well, and, art music as well, we see, famous names linking up. Are there any that come to your mind when you think of collaborating artists?
The first thing that comes to my mind when collaborations come involved is the 2006 U2 and Green Day collaboration that was kind of made for Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, nice.
A lot of people think that it was they were trying to raise money for the musicians who lost their instruments for Katrina, but that's also true. But also they just played at the Superdome in Louisiana, I believe, when that first came out. When kind of everything was rebuilt and I forget what team is for New Orleans. I'm not really good at
the Saints.
The Saints, there you go. I should have known that because the song is literally "The Saints Are Coming." But they played it right before their first game, kind of showing that we're stronger than any of the storms, and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool.
Nice, pitching together for a cool effort. And I think a lot of times you see, a band you really know and maybe a specializing group of musicians that you're not familiar with. I know, the Beatles, for instance, they were one of the first ever to incorporate a full orchestra into their rock band arrangement.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of other bands coming in after that. Pink Floyd doing the same, Led Zeppelin doing the same.
Definitely.
And one of my favorite recent artists is called Snarky Puppy. They're a sweet band. They got all kinds of different flavors, and they brought in the Metropole Orkest, this orchestra from
That's cool.
From the Netherlands, I think. And man, it was a sweet album. It's cool to hear somebody known in their different fields, kind of lending to the others, styles like that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that you mentioned that because the Beatles, first of all, I actually didn't know that they did orchestra stuff. Sorry.
We can bleep it out.
Orchestra stuff that. So I didn't actually know that. So that's actually really cool. But Metallica also did something like that. I just started listening to it in the 90s. They did San Francisco Symphony Orchestra. They actually did a whole concert with them, and I really wish I was alive or to actually see that, because Metallica is actually one of my favorite bands. But having Master of Puppets, for Who the Bell Tolls, with a giant orchestra in the back just makes it so much better than the original, in my opinion. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like we're starting to see a more collaboration between known artists too. I mean, in hip hop we've always had Jay-Z and Kanye West, and the entirety of for instance the Wu-Tang Clan, who all are a collective, and they're obviously collaborating all together. And I mean, we see that all the time, but I feel that now in rock music, when someone will go off and do like a solo project, oftentimes they'll jump on like as a solo feature on someone else's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like some of my favorite artists like Napalm from Hiatus Coyote and one of my favorite bands, Bad Bad Not Good, they'll always feature like prominent jazz like trumpeteers or something because they're like a trio. I like to hear that, and I like to see you know, somebody out of place. You know what I mean? I like to see U2 in a Kendrick Lamar song.
Yeah,
like,
that is phenomenal. It's something where you're like, oh, like I didn't know that they could actually do that. It's so cool to see like different like music genres just combined together.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's something that's ever more possible with like communications. Obviously, if somebody's a huge fan of somebody's there, and they're probably in contact, no issue now. Yeah,
I also think it's like a huge like Kendrick Lamar probably like listened to U2 and like one of them listened to the other and like reached out and they were just like, oh, like I love your music, and that's probably how the collab started. I just think that's so cool.
Totally, yeah. Well, there's a lot of collaborations to happen, a lot more to come soon.
Oh yeah.
Another recent feature worth noting is Kanye West and Kid Cudi did a project together
called
Kids See Ghost. It's very highly critically acclaimed by many. Yeah,
that's cool.
I think it's like 6 or 7 tracks, and yeah, it's really cool. One of the hit songs is called Reborn. It's a real sweet album. I recommend everybody check it out.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
We're going to leave you with that recommendation, and stay tuned for some more music news. It's been Jake and Liam for Rockers Review.
See you guys then.
Yes, rockers, it's finally happening. Slipknot will be back in action next year with a new album and a world tour, even if we have to wait a little longer than we all expected. The band has been teasing a new album for a couple of months now, and they're all saying that if things go smoothly, we're looking at a release during the summer. With that said, it'll be almost 5 years since their previous album, Point 5, The Gray Chapter. Vocalist Corey Taylor has said, what if the guys who made Iowa matured? What if the kids who made Iowa grew up? And it's stated that Taylor has said the band has written their heaviest song ever. With that being said, the band has also booked their first show for next year, which will be at the Iowa State Fair. Interesting thing is that Slipknot has been around since the mid-90s and has never played at the fair, which is in their hometown of Des Moines. Let's hope that everything goes according to the plan and we get to see and hear new Slipknot next year.
Back in the summer, when Behemoth first announced their new album, the recently released I Love You at Your Darkest, the blackened death metal band caught some heat from social media for the unusual album title. A lot of people were commenting and saying that this sounds like the title for an emo band and not one of the most extreme metal acts out there. Frontman Nurgle said that this album is the band's most blasphemous to date and that the title is based off a quote by Jesus Christ himself. 10 seconds of the new Behemoth album would probably kill 100 emo kids, and then another 100 and another 100, so by the end of the record there'd be no emo kids left in the world, Nurgle said. He added, a really smart guy said, if you can't impress people, confuse them. It seems they really want to push the boundaries of not only what people think of the band, but music itself. And it really shows in the songs off the new album.
Slipknot is going back on tour. How exciting for fans.
I know. Slipknot is a metal favorite, so it's good to hear that they've announced a new tour.
Behemoth also seemed to be ready for some action with a new album as well.
We're going to have so many new albums to listen to by the end of the month. Well, on that note, up next is Check This Out.
Hey rockers, this week on Check This Out we have a very special guest. Performing this week is Julia Cooler with some original songs. Take it away, Julia.
Gentle eyes, you're looking right at me, telling me things you would never say. Guiding hands, I love what you show me. Please just point me the right way. After all, you might be a crutch, but I'll tell you this much. I'll play with your hair so you fall asleep. I'll give you the things that you really need. listen to love songs on the way home. Are you home? Are you home? I hope you're home. Crooked teeth, the brightest of smiles. Suddenly I'm smiling too. Dreamer, I love what you think of, 'cause I'm just as wild as you. After all, you might be a crutch, but I'll tell you this much. I'll play with your hair as you fall asleep. I'll give you the things that you really need. We'll listen to love songs on the way home. Are you home? Are you home? I hope you're home. Close is not an option. I'm always on the other side. Don't you know we're disposable? 'Cause you're replaced and I feel fine. But if I change my mind, I'll let you know. My love, we won't ever have our time, my Lord. Couldn't spot you in a crowd. I wouldn't say you're in my dreams. I just like having you around, at least for now, or so I think. But if I change my mind, I'll let you know. My love, we won't ever have our time, my Lord. He said, I love to kiss you, only at 2 a.m. Swollen eyes and stuffy noses. I should have come around again. But if I change my mind, I'll let you know. My love, we won't ever have our time, my Lord. I'm not sad at all, I'm just passing time with you. I'm not sad at all, just calculating and what I'll do. If I change my mind, I'll let you know. My love, we won't ever have our time, my Lord.
Hey rockers, you just heard some great songs from Julia Kohler. Thankfully she's here with us right now to talk about them. So Julia, loved your performance, great job, you know, I'm a huge fan. So tell us a little about how long have you been like playing music, or like it's not even just singing, just any kind of musical instrument?
Okay, so my mom is actually a piano teacher, so I've been playing piano since I was 3.
Oh wow.
I haven't stopped, but I'm actually a saxophone major as well as a keyboard major here at IUP.
Wow, that's awesome. So like those are your two main like instruments. Like your best are probably like saxophone and piano.
Right.
Yeah, that's actually really awesome. I knew you were a music major here at IUP, but I didn't really know like what all instruments do. Because you've said before that you play like I play every instrument. I'm like, really? Like all instruments? Like so like what instruments would you consider yourself to be like, oh, I play that? If you can name if you can name them, you don't have to name all of them.
In high school, I took percussion lessons, so I'm pretty good at marimba and xylophone and vibraphone, and proficient at snare, but not great. I also play some clarinet, a little bit of bassoon.
A little bit of bassoon.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. So tell us a little about your guitar actually, because I was looking at it. It's just like stunning. And I asked you, I was like, so where'd you get this guitar? And you chuckled. So I was like, there must be a story behind this.
Okay, so this guitar is my brother's old guitar. So he got it when he was like 14, and I'm 8 years younger than him. So whenever I was like 14, he just gave it to me.
So it's it's been through a few.
Yeah.
It's been through a few
It's
years.
been places.
Really? Okay, well, it looks pretty nice. It's honestly held in good shape, even despite the missing string. It's fine, we're not Anyway, so with this guitar, you played some great original songs. Tell us about your original songs. Do you write a lot of original songs? How do you write them? Things like that.
I've been writing since I was about 16. I mainly write on piano just because I'm most fluent on that instrument, and I can understand the theory behind it and chord progressions behind writing a lot easier. So yeah, I've been writing since I was 16. I try to write just like a tiny bit every day. It doesn't have
that's definitely a good habit to have.
It can be like a chord progression or a few lyrics. Yeah.
Oh, that's very, very cool. So, being a songwriter, do you have any artists that like influence you greatly through your songwriting, or like artists that you love that you'd say like are a big, I guess, inspiration to you?
I listen to a lot of indie folk, so like Fleet Foxes and Andy Schaaf and Tallest Man on Earth, Shaky Graves, you know.
Oh wow, super cool. Yeah, I definitely, like, your music definitely gives off that indie rock vibe to me, or indie, like, alternative vibe. Like, it's very, very relaxing to listen to. All of us here in the studio were like, okay, this is nice and relaxing. All right, so I've seen you perform a few times at open mic. Do you perform anywhere else, like, locally around Indiana? Have you ever done any live shows before? Or are you kind of just, like, you know, to yourself? Do you post any videos, anything like that? Like, is there any way we can find you performing?
I don't perform my original songs, or even, I don't really even sing in front of people normally, but I do a lot of saxophone performances
Great.
with the studio here. But I do have a SoundCloud where I post some of my music. It's a little all over the place. There's some MIDI psychedelic stuff. There's singer-songwriter type stuff. So that is SoundCloud.
That is SoundCloud. Is there a name so people can find you?
Yeah, so it's SoundCloud / Golden Child and then 6. Like,
6. Perfect. All right. Well, maybe we can link that up here somewhere on the screen. Maybe you'll see a floating words that say that, so maybe people can try to find you, because I've definitely listened to your SoundCloud before and it's A+ folks, so definitely should give it a listen. All right, well, I do believe that's actually all the time we have here today, so thank you so much for coming in today. You did a great performance, and we'll see you next week, Rockers.
And with that, we're halfway through the semester, Rockers.
Stay tuned for the rest of the semester for more music, everything.
And tune in next week for another performance by a talented local artist.
Follow us on social media at Indie Rockers Ball or at IUP-TV for more updates.
See you later, everybody. Don't appreciate it anymore in this society.
Hello viewers, look at your favorite show, now back to me. Now back to your favorite show, now back to me. Sadly, we don't have that kind of budget. But, if you stick to watching Schizophrenia, you can laugh at us trying. Look down. Back up. Where are you? You're in the studio. The show that could be like your favorite show if we get enough viewers to have a budget. What's in your hand? Back to me. I have it. It's your TV remote. Preset to when Schizophrenia comes on. Look again. The remote is now a budget. Anything is possible when you watch quality humor like Schizophrenia's.
My name is Patricia. Wait, how did I... Instead of doing a line in the dirty bathroom of a frat house, you might as well just pick up a few chocolate chip cookies.
Let me give you some personal advice. Cucumbers work a lot better.
A bunch of text messages from my ex. And yeah, I think he like...
If you're cheated on and never find out, that just makes you look dumb if everybody else knows.
I'd rather my thoughts be above my head, because then I just don't have to be myself. I can truly be so baffled to be TCO than I am.
Okay, I look and sound a little bit like Michael Cera.
Who the cares about Kris Jenner? And that family makes way too much money. They do absolutely nothing.
Today's word of the day is college. Noun.
That's my reality check, and I'm game.
Welcome to Press Start.
2 players, 1 controller. 2 players, one controller. And
Playing
go.
Smash, let's go!
Oh no, I know what it is.
Toe Drum Island.
No!
Yeah. Wow.
I think the true MVP of this team has been Kayshawn Carter. He is second in kick return average. He already had a touchdown this season, and he's really been the unsung hero for this team. He puts the offense in a great position. He gets them to just about the 40-yard line every single kickoff return.
You know, it takes a lot for me to do this as a Michigan fan, but unfortunately I'm going to have to say that I'm probably going to put Ohio State at the top of the Big Ten. Second to them, I'm probably going to put Penn State. They've been able to find their groove without Saban.